Regal Movie Masters. Unlimited.
This is the Regal Movie Masters Unlimited podcast where we indiscriminately watch every goddamn movie that comes out at the local theater. The Movie Masters today are Steve.
Hi.
Brent.
Hello.
Dylan.
What's up?
And my name is Colin. We got a short but sweet batch of films for you today. We're looking at Killers of the Flower Moon, a new film by up-and-coming director Michael Scorsese. And we got The Other Zoey, the rom-com of the season. And we're going back in time, baby. We're watching Nightmare Before Christmas because it was in the theater. So there's a little bonus spice on top of this one. As always, like to recommend you hit us with an email. It's moviemasters760@gmail.com. You have any questions or anything of the like. We got an email this week. We've heard from Robbie Stewart before. Robbie Stewart is hitting us up again. Get ready for this. You have a hard time taking compliments. Brace yourselves. He's coming out the gate. Not since record release days in the 90s have I looked forward to a Tuesday drops as I do to your podcast. Boom.
Aw,
Yeah,
sweet.
see? A legitimate awe. Thank you for that. He says a month ago, it was a little scare when we were a little late to drop. Follows the IG now, which brings us to the plug. If you want to follow it, it's
Official Movie Masters.
and you hit that on Instagram. You follow the Official Movie Masters. Keep up to date with us, just as Robbie does. This isn't just praise, though. You got a question. Robbie's asking for movies we repeat view. He says he's had to do a few on account of either going to sleep during them or needing to break them up. He gave Across the Spider-Verse, Guardians 3, and Barbie this year, and others because they were so much fun, like Bottoms, Sisu, and John Wick 3, which those would be the ones I'd repeat viewing for sure. He wants to know if we get into rewatches, which is a very interesting point because it is a peril of having a limited time on Earth and a lot of movies to watch. It's
gotten harder. I used to rewatch a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
but now, like the last year, it's officially been a year since we started actually putting the episodes out. Maybe a couple, but I can't recall offhand.
Tar I saw twice.
Yeah,
I'm happy I did. That was worth it. Fablemans I feel like I saw twice.
you did. Yeah,
And I saw Guardians 3 twice. And I think those are all, I don't know what's going on with those selections. I think it's all just like movies with a lot going on that I also hold in really high regard. There's such a benefit to it. This is so like counter to what, we do here, but I really, watching Nightmares, I'll spoil some of my thoughts on that. Like that was a movie I watched like literally hundreds of times because it was at the video store, and you could play it for anybody. So like ambiently watching movies hundreds of times, that you learn a lot about movies. Even if you take a long break, they're still there for you. And yeah, it definitely behooves one to see a movie multiple times in theaters. I believe I just don't get a goddamn chance to. I definitely should more often, but I don't. How about you guys? What have you guys get rewatches?
Like rewatch in the theater?
Yeah.
not this year.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, Dylan, yeah, you had a few, right?
I saw
Yeah.
Beau's Afraid, which is a fucking
So
tall
far.
ask.
I am so jealous of that. That's definitely one I should have seen again because it's still not out, or at least not on like a convenient
Streaming or something.
streaming
wow.
service.
Not that I know of.
I think it would have been on Max. It's an A24 movie.
One would think, but
Yeah.
that's one that I would. I mean, I'm going to watch it again probably several times.
I'm
but
sure you will. Yeah.
to get a crack in the theater again, I am jealous of that.
Yeah, it was nice both times.
You know what though? Like usually during Oscar season, they reissue almost everything that's of note.
I
So
don't think Bo is going to get back in theaters.
shut.
That shit was down in flames financially.
Yeah, but
I don't think they're giving
For
it.
Oscar
But for
contenders,
Oscars,
like
that-
Oscar
that-
nominee.
Do you think they're going to?
dude, that's the kiss. That's the blessing.
I'd say
It's every year, dude. Like 'cause,
again, it's my favorite movie this year. I'm not like there's no shortage of flowers I have to give to that movie. They're not going to fucking look at that movie at the Oscars. No way, man.
you don't think so?
No way. I mean,
What? They
yeah.
love Joaquin.
Bro, it's too real. It's too real. They love Joaquin, and they can give him something for that. Oh, wait, is he in that Napoleon movie that's coming out?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. You want to give a movie to a historical film with Ridley Scott, or you want to give it to, this is a quote from the director now, the Jewish Lord of the Rings. It's not going to go good for Bo. That is a...
There could be some technical nominations.
That's a for some... Yeah, the technical nominations that will... They don't want to take up space for Asteroid City if they're going to give some little
So
pity
you're
nod.
telling me Jamie Lee Curtis is going to take it over Parker Posey?
I'm telling you, I don't know if they, whatever. I hope it does come back. I would watch that movie
I
again
think it will.
gladly. But yeah, there's no Oscar for that movie.
I did see the Great Mauricio the Great,
Wait,
but once in theaters, once at home.
The Amazing Maurice?
The Amazing-
Yeah, the Amazing Maurice.
Well, that
I'm
doesn't
sorry.
count.
Does it count?
Was it because you found it on YouTube?
No.
Okay, where was it?
I think it
Hulu?
was.
Was
Okay.
it? Was it?
I think it was YouTube, dog.
Was it YouTube?
Well, yeah,
Oh,
full movie
Yeah,
streaming
for
free.
for context, I don't know if he still does it, but for a while, Dylan, after he would get home from watching a movie, he would search for the full movie on YouTube just to see if he could find it.
Look, I used to mock him, but 1 in 10 times.
Yeah.
It-
What was my greatest hits?
The Evil Conspiracy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Immediately after.
and it was up for months. So I okay, that's a rewatch. I have rewatched The Devil
Not in
Conspiracy.
the theater though.
Not in
Yeah.
the theater. Yeah, at home. Wait, so is Robbie saying that he fell asleep in the movie and then had to go back?
I don't want to put words into. Here, let's see here.
Because there's only one movie where I almost fell asleep this year. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was on one of the episodes.
It said, okay, sometimes because I fell asleep, and he cites Plane, or I didn't enjoy the film as much as others did and wanted to give another shot, which he says across the Spider-Verse, Guardians 3, and Barbie.
Yeah.
So Plane is the only one who falls asleep to. I don't want to paint this poor man as a narcoleptic.
Okay, but like the context of the email, was it definitely rewatch only in theaters?
Yeah.
Oh,
Movies that you, if you get a chance to see movies again and again in the theater.
damn, respect for going back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's mostly a time issue. There are movies that I feel like I look forward to seeing that again, or I'd like to see it again in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, the commitment to having to go to the theater to see it would be kind of a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely like year-end at-home viewing. Get your top of the year lists
Yeah.
together because, very important things.
I would like to be able to do that, like when we're kind of trying to say what tiers we would put
Yeah.
these movies in. Some of them I'm like, I need to rewatch.
Yeah, for sure.
some of it.
Yeah. Here's another weird catch about it is because of the streaming wars, there'll be movies where like they'll be on streaming 2 weeks after we
Yeah.
watch it in theaters. So like the runs are shorter, but it's also like psychologically you're going, I don't have to go back because I'll be able to watch this at home in a couple
Yeah.
weeks.
Or like when it does come streaming, though, you're just like, I just saw that.
Exactly.
I like that, but I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
saw
yeah,
it. You don't go back. Anyways, delightful question. Thanks you. We love to hear from you. If you have any questions you'd like to see addressed, hit us up. It's moviemasters760@gmail.com. Thanks so much. Dylan,
Yes.
what the hell are we watching, dog?
Well, Colin, we got Killers of the Flower Moon. You might have heard of the director, Martin Scorsese. Ever heard of him?
I have.
Anyone else? in
I
this
was
room?
I was joking earlier. He's not an up and coming director.
No, he's
actually like really famous.
he's old school, bro.
Like he's actually really well known and like very established.
Yes. Well, what I wrote down on my notes is like from what I understood from watching the movie, like in the 1920s, right? Like members of the Osage Native American tribe of the Osage County in Oklahoma are like murdered after oil is found on their land, and the FBI decides to investigate. There's a little bit more than that. I guess there's like the murders revolve around Leonardo DiCaprio's character and Robert De Niro's characters, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And like just all their fucked up schemes, bro.
Yeah.
It's almost like Martin Scorsese likes making movies about organized crime.
and he's like, you gotta show off sometimes and say that you're not a one-trick pony. It's not just a bunch of Italian guys in suits swearing at each other. You go 50 years before those guys were born.
Yeah.
Talk about a whole different batch of apples. I just got to clear the air and say I loved this movie.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, Martin Scorsese making a movie is going to be very long. I was like, yes, I'm excited. One of those times where it's like I had high expectations and I looked forward to seeing it. I was like, I haven't disliked any. 21st century Scorsese's a
Right.
little different. I'm not going to like begrudge anyone if they're like, yeah, The Departed wasn't for me or The Irishman wasn't for me.
Sure.
But it was very much so for me. I love these movies. They are, as far as I'm concerned, made for me. I am the target demographic for these. And yeah, I had this like, the man has not given me any reason to doubt him, Mr. Scorsese. And my expectations were thoroughly fulfilled. I'm over the moon for this film.
He's also supposed to be a director. You know what I mean? He's not like some like, oh, I did a bunch of stand-up specials and now they're letting me direct a movie. It's like, no, this guy, like, he knows how to make a movie. And you kind of like, within the first 5 minutes, I was like, oh, this is a movie.
Yeah. And it's not like, it's hard to talk about his films, I think, because they're so like, you know what's good is hamburgers. Like hamburgers, I just like eating them. Yes, everyone likes his films. You're not like a crazy champion of some underdog if you say you like his movies, but his movies are still goddamn phenomenal, you
Yeah.
know? Or it's like being a Beatles fan or something, you know? It's like just because everyone likes them and it's kind of acknowledged that they're the best, it doesn't mean you can't also think they're the best. I don't know.
I guess where I was going with that is, you know, he gets a lot of flack for, you know, like his Marvel movie comments.
Yeah.
But then, like, within the first 5 minutes, I go, he's allowed to say that.
Yeah,
You know
no.
what I mean?
And that's what this feels like to me is like, oh, this is a grown up movie.
Yeah.
But not a boring way, because there's like, I don't know, there's kind of a, that sounds like you're watching something boring, but he doesn't make boring movies. He makes very entertaining, very easily digestible, dare I say, popcorn films.
Yep.
They're just for grown-ups, I guess, or deal with serious subject matter.
And he directs them in a way where he can have unconventional cameos without pulling you out of the movie itself. Like, I was trying to think of like who he could put in there that make you like break your immersion or break your buying into the movie. And I was like, well, maybe like a Bill Burr or something like that. We're like, oh, that's a stand-up comedian. I mean, like, meanwhile, he had like all these music stars and he had like, you know, big names like Leo. You know what I mean? Where you're like, oh, is Leo playing himself? No, he's not. Like, a lot of times, stick like a Brad Pitt in a movie. You're like, oh, that's Brad Pitt being Brad Pitt. You know, or George Clooney. That's George Clooney being George Clooney. But when Scorsese directs it, it's like, oh, he's actually steering these people artistically a certain way. And it's done with a lot of taste and in a way where at no point are you broken out of the world that you're being immersed into.
And like we've seen De Niro very recently, like that guy has a PhD in cashing a fucking check. Like he will show up, give you one take, and then that's it.
Yeah.
That might cause you to be concerned for his performance in a movie like this. But then you're like, oh yeah, that's what a director does. They make the guy act real fucking good. And, you know, as for using like actors who have certain, I don't know, what do you call that? Like prejudices against them. You know, for instance, I recently heard this anecdote of like Tom Hanks was going to be the bad guy in, I think it was Wall Street, but they were like, no, he's too likable. It does, like, you cannot make him a villain because he's so likable. And I think this movie kind of subverts a lot of that because, like, you like De Niro, you like
DiCaprio,
you want to see them, and you want to see them, you know, just be charismatic people, and they are, but they're downright, you know, evil, like the darkest kind of evil, and they don't even let you be like campy, mwahaha evil. It's the real world kind of evil, but they're such likable people that it's like this this balance is constantly up. Where that the little fucker who was in the FBI guy lead, the man in the hat,
Plemons. Jesse Plemons, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, they always make him play the biggest motherfucker. Like, he shows up on screen in almost anything else, and he's going to be a prick. Like, he was Breaking Bad, I guess, is this big one, right?
Yeah.
And he's like a tremendous little shithead in that. But they make him she shows up in this, and he's like the hero. So
yeah,
that's how you go against type.
It's a flex.
There you go. I'm overly enthusiastic about this. I don't want to hog the mic though.
I guess it was just sort of what I expected it to be. I don't necessarily think that Scorsese has to do directing of people like Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. he knows them, they know him, and they're good at what they do. You kind of expect them to do it. I think him using new people is really cool. It's a little bit of a Nolan thing too, where it's like, they have their guys, and you expect to see them there, but you like to see what new people they decided to go with. I liked almost all the casting. I felt all the cameos were annoying because it's like sometimes you would see somebody and they're on screen and you're like, this is not an actor.
Oh, so you did get yanked out. Okay.
You can tell that it's like, I don't know who these people are, but I know this isn't an actor. Who is it?
What did you think of do you know who Jason Isbell is?
I don't know who any of these people are.
So
I just
Jason
know
Isbell
when they're on screen that they're not actors.
So Jason Isbell is he is the, I don't know if it's a brother. It's one of the people that's married to one of the Osage women that is going to get killed. And the guy that dies in the bomb blast. He has that one-on-one with DiCaprio, and I think that's his first time in a major role. So that was an interest. Again, I think it's like a flex, being like, I can take this country singer and put him on screen with Leonardo DiCaprio in a very pivotal scene and have it work. At least it worked for me. I don't know if it worked for you.
I think you could put anybody in there and it would have been the same way. But you can tell that it's not somebody who is an actor, I thought.
Well, I think he kind of has a bit of the Fellini thing where he just finds people with weird looking heads.
Yeah, I think that's more of what it was. It definitely goes with the look and the feel of the movie, but the acting craft is not really there. So I think that's what kind of takes it. If this was a silent film, and there were like cards that said their lines, that would be kind of different, but it was a little weird. The same way that once you like look at Leonardo DiCaprio's mouth and you're like, just let him spit out whatever these fake teeth are, just like let him talk normal. Like, I get it, it fills out the ambiance, but it's kind of like, I get it, stop.
I guess Brendan Fraser kind of works against your point,
Yeah.
Brent, because that's when he comes on, it's like, that's
Everyone's
The
like,
whale.
oh!
that's the whale.
Yeah, I definitely
He's
thought
wailing.
that's the whale. Yeah.
So I guess
but
there's-
it's so late
John
in the movie.
Lithgow comes out and you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Third Rock
him.
guy, all right.
Yeah, exactly. So there's definitely some where it's like, that's nice of him. He's just throwing people in now.
But those, I wouldn't.
I think the only reason that maybe happens, and I'm not like, I don't want to like invalidate that take, but I think when a movie's 3.5 hours long, a
little bit of keys jangling in front of you.
yeah. And they kind of come in toward the
that
end.
means he's not good at what he does if he has to do that to you to kind of keep your attention. I don't think that's what he was doing. I think he just likes these people and wanted to put them in there.
100%.
But I
And they
do
have
also
weird
feel
heads.
like, I do also feel like, he was just kind of like, who else? Who fits in this world, regardless of
I don't know the
their
actor's
acting
name,
chops.
but there was that Dick Tracy villain jawline in one of the baddies.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
That was the best part of the movie. It sounds to me like you're going to adopt these kids and then murder these kids.
I will.
If that's illegal, then, or if I'm not going to get the money, I'm not going to do it. Yeah. Characters.
I thought it was fine. I like the directing style of Scorsese. The intro stuff where it's all like old timey flash stuff.
Right.
I was like, okay, I believe we're in the 20s, sort of. I only got taken out of one cameo, and it was at the very end. Are we spoiling anything?
In context.
It's Jack White's cameo, and I went, oh, this movie, I'm done.
I missed it.
Jump the shark.
Who was he in the movie?
They made it was on the radio show, and the guy that was doing the exaggerated Osage accent.
Oh, at the very end?
Yeah.
That was
I
Jack
mean-
White.
That's when you were done?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, no, I
I
was
agree.
just like, oh, that's because I can buy the Brendan Fraser, I can buy the Lithgow, like whatever. That's not pulling my teeth or anything, but it's more or less when that happens, I'm like, why the fuck is Jack White
Yeah.
in this movie?
He's in it to be. Well, in all fairness,
Because Martin Scorsese likes classic rock dudes,
But it's just funny because I'm like okay, the movie's done, right?
Yeah.
They're explaining what happens in this format.
it was a legit epilogue.
Yes. And then straight up Jack White shows up and I went, oh my God.
And he's just racist.
Yeah, and then a fake Don Rickles was also there.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, who the fuck is that? That's not Don Rickles.
Yeah, it couldn't be done.
Not Don Rickles.
Yeah, he's dead. He's long gone.
You wouldn't come back for Scorsese? Of course you would.
I bet he would. If he
That
could.
is facts.
I felt like that epilogue it kind of sunned Wes Anderson. You know what I mean? Because it kind of does the whole like, hey, here's some craft on camera, like in front of the camera. And it was so much more entertaining than whatever Wes Anderson movie we watched.
Yeah, and sort of is like period appropriate
Yeah.
and kind of and serves the purpose of kind of wrapping up a lot of
Yeah.
I wouldn't say loose ends, but just like, by the way, here's some more stuff that happened.
Here's how it went after that.
You know what I really liked, speaking of like time appropriate, throughout the film as time goes on, just the attention to the kind of cars, the kind of clothes, the kind of decor and all that. I was really glad that they stayed so casual about it, you know, just saying nothing about it.
That's a good point, because this movie had the best doors in any movie for years. I can't think of the last movie that had that many great doors, and like the way that they built the sets, like they put a lot of care into it.
There's a lot of crowd shots too, which that's my go-to tell now when I'm watching period films. Did you just get a cottage in a countryside and have 5 characters in it? Yeah. Or did you have a $200 million budget like this movie had?
Yeah.
And you can have some crane shots with some flexing in it. And
that's impressive.
And it does serve to, immerse you in the era, which is all very important to do. Like I said, the story itself, I think, is worth noting, because I think it's not something that most people would want to see, because it is like, I think we kind of know that white people have been terrible to Native Americans. And so it's like, hey, here's a white people terrible to Native Americans movie. And I think most people are like,
what's weird is, as time keeps going by faster and faster, I've run into people that like, they've only heard that. They haven't like really read about it, because it like,
right.
So they're like, yeah, I know the thing. Like, yeah, but like, they may not have necessarily seen art that addresses it.
And
so
probably because they avoid it, because it's a bummer subject matter.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like there's probably some people who will feel like this is like homework or eating them vegetables or something. And like, I don't know. I hope that doesn't deter people, because like till last year it was a hard watch, and it was like, that was an amazing accomplishment and amazing performances, and that's an important movie, and I don't want to see that again, because it's a real struggle to get through. And this movie is like incredible in the issues it addresses, and like shows, I don't know, more of the systematic side of racism than just simple prejudice, and like the banal evil underlying all of it, and how casual people are about, like, basically it's understood that the white people in the town, because this is a town that, they gave this tribe this land that they thought was garbage. Turns out there's oil underneath it. Now they're super rich. And so it's just like,
how do we get that money back?
Yeah, without like, some corporate office with a guy with a, twirling his mustache being like, we got to get that money from these people. It's just like, yeah, so we'll just intermarry, and then we get the rights if someone passes away, and then we know that we just need to exterminate these people.
Here's the 5 we got to take out to get, this many hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah.
And it's not the era of like, killing all the buffaloes and stuff, which it's like in the 20s, like there's cars, the FBI exists. Like it's very modern. It's not not very modern, obviously, but it doesn't feel like some kind of ancient history. And like when you see things like, and they show it for like, it's a throwaway moment, but there's a parade going on, and the Klan is in the parade, and like the sheriff of the town is like just waving
up,
and
Jim?
smiling. And it's like, that's like, I don't know, it's such economic storytelling. And it's weird to say economic storytelling when we're looking at a 3.5 hour runtime. Another reason that people will probably feel like this is work to watch, To
your original point, I didn't go into the movie knowing what it was about. I knew that it was a Scorsese movie that had Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro, and I think that's how a lot of people are going to look at it. And given the success of those 3 entities historically, I don't think they're going to run into any trouble getting people to see this.
Yeah. I mean, I think there would be a lot less trouble if one of them was a cop and one of them was a mobster and the other was a drug dealer. I think those movies.
I still think it's an organized crime movie. You can market it as that if you really wanted to like try to blow it up even more.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's such a moot point talking about like the commercial viability of something like this. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard much in the way of buzz about it or talking about
Oh,
it.
really?
I don't know.
My demographic, I'm a couple years older than you. Yeah, a lot of people talking about it.
I hope so because I do. Of course, I would hope people would run and see it. I don't know. I don't hear much hullabaloo as I'd like to hear.
Was the last time you heard the hullabaloo Boppenheimer?
Like that kind of hype? That's, something.
That was
something
a meteor
else.
or a comet, Outside of those two movies, have there been other ones this year where you've heard a buzz about?
I mean, even like, I don't know, a talk to me was like, hey, this is a crazy movie. You should see it. Or, The Exorcist, there's a lot of people shitting all over that movie right now. Even though, again, it's
negative
not.
Buzz.
Yeah, it's still like an acknowledgement of something.
Right,
but like,
right.
I don't know that this one's making the rounds like it could, or the marketing is booming. It's a tough sell if it didn't have the names attached to it that it did.
I don't recall any marketing that I've seen of it, but it was based on a book. And the book has been out for quite some time. And one of my aunts was talking about how she had read the book and was interested in watching the movie. And I think that this kind of is less alienating to, I want to say women, but to people who just aren't interested in watching a bunch of guys be mobsters.
There you go.
Like, you can make movies well doing that story many times, but this was cool because it was a lot of different angles of that, and you don't really see like a gunfight or contracts or handshakes or anything. It's all just like weirdly vague verbal stuff that's just how they work. It's just kind of shady. Everything is just kind of shady.
And justice gets meted out too. I think that's another plus of the movie and why it might have some legs as it goes on and on and on.
At the end?
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, they go to jail for a little while.
Oh, that's right. They do get out.
So.
I forgot about that part. Damn it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you were like not basing the movie on fact and
before
telling...
the epilogue, you know what I mean? Like, it feels good. Then you get to the epilogue where it's revealed, oh yeah, they were only in jail for X amount of years, and this guy kind of just got to remove himself from the region and live his life out.
Yeah, I mean, there's
87.
If you were to fictionalize this story, you would have it end with probably a gunfight or someone getting revenge. Like the last half of the movie would, if it was a Grindhouse film, would just be someone hacking up all the guys for trying to kill the people or whatever.
And you have the Equalizer come in.
Yeah, you could turn it into one of those movies. But if you were to base it in reality, it's really fucking depressing because that's how these kind of systems are. Is that they help the people who are at the top.
Yes.
So, I really liked the wife in this movie, Leo's wife's performance.
Yeah.
She was so cool.
She was so good. Lily Gladstone.
Boom.
I know she's in some other stuff, but it's also nothing I would particularly be interested in. But I hope that she gets to do a lot of other things because she carries so much of this movie. I know Leo's a star, but I look forward to seeing her on screen.
I think I liked her performance better than Leo's for sure.
And
because I think you mentioned like there's like the fake teeth and like I don't know, it was so crafty. Whereas like she like was wearing stuff on her face without having to have prosthetics and without having to have a different accent. She's just like you're like, oh, I get what's going on because of how she is playing that moment.
I think she did a great job, or maybe just the way it's written. Like they're not portrayed as rubes or victims per se. Like
she knew the hustle.
Yeah, it was like all these women in the tribe are marrying these white guys, and they're just like, yeah, they want our money. Yeah, I know.
but that dude's good looking.
Yeah, I want some of that.
I mean, it wasn't until everyone started dying, then it's like, oh, they're just trying to kill us.
Oh, I didn't know they were going to do that. Jesus, I thought it was like...
I thought we were people.
All right.
Human people.
It wouldn't kill me if I had kids with him, right?
Yeah, it's... and that's sort of... It's not like a fun kind of sociopath to watch. It's not a... Maybe sociopaths aren't fun to watch in the way that like psychopaths are. Silence of the Lambs. You like seeing the crazy old guy in the cage. Hey, I'm a killer guy. I'm going to eat ya. But in a movie like this, it's not really... None of the characters are like caricatures. They're very nuanced. You see all their motivations. You understand why everyone wants to do something. The evil is just general. And I think it's worth noting that De Niro and DiCaprio's characters are like, they come back from the war. They've served their country. They're like upstanding folk. And they just have this implicit understanding that you just need to murder these people who don't these savages just don't deserve their money, and they don't need to die, but if they have to die in order for the money to go to the people who should have it, which is us, that just needs to be done. And that is such a engrossing and difficult kind of evil to portray. It's not
that era. It's like so much closer to the roots of the carnival. So like De Niro's character understands, how to identify a potential mark and how to play them. Like he manipulates everybody at every moment in every situation. And that was fascinating to watch. And it I don't know, like I said, like it took place in the 1920s when carnivals were way more relevant, so to see it kind of have that proximity within, like the, how it all played out was, like I said, fascinating.
The elephant in the room here is that it's a 3.5-hour movie, which feels like a long time. I really thought it served the story they were telling. It's so big. And again, to get that kind of nuance that we're talking about, you do need to let performances breathe, let stories breathe. And this has that grandiose quality of telling an epic story. So it's not just when Michael Bay is doing a Silverhawks movie, and it's just going to be 2.5 to 3 hours long, just fucking cuz, and you're just going to see the same fight happen over and over and over again. It's not that. Everything is purposeful, and I think there's potential to scare people off or just make them feel like it's something bloated. I felt, just as my own prejudice or whatever, I was like, I bet they tried to make this fucker do like a miniseries. They wanted this motherfucker to do some limited run series. And he's like, no, I make fucking movies. I'm going to make a fucking movie. You're not going to get to split this up into 6 parts or 8 parts, drag it out even more. No, this is going to be this is going to be the way I do things. And so I'm glad it exists like this. And with the runtime it does, I think it all serves this huge story he's telling, man. I don't know. I'm bowled over. I'm smitten.
Do you think it would have benefited on different levels from having an actual intermission?
Nah, just eat a dick. Watch this fucking thing. It's grown up time.
Did you go to the bathroom? I'm trying to remember.
I didn't. I did before.
Yeah.
But no, this is
you adult diapered it?
I just, toughed it out.
Yeah, I did too.
I feel like most of the audience, and I saw it at least. I mean, it's not like, oh, you're a fucking fake cinephile.
Yeah,
if you go to the bathroom in the middle of this movie,
it's just you may miss a little bit.
Well, that's what I was just saying, because I remember when The Hateful Eight came out, that's a long format too, and they had an intermission right.
Okay.
I think they're lame.
Intermissions?
Yeah. A lot of it is if you're telling us a movie that is that long, I don't think you're going to miss anything by missing 3 minutes, unless you leave at a really pivotal time.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly either building the world more or it's throwaway, like a Michael Bay fight. You're going to see another one in 10 minutes. But this one, and I'm always kind of conscious of how long it feels, or when I start feeling a little tired of sitting. And this, I have to say, kept moving. It didn't feel as long as it was. For all the 3-hour movies we've seen, this definitely felt the shortest. It felt the most like you weren't just wasting my time. Obviously, he's a master director.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is where you really get to see that, where if you were going to give him a lot of time, it's enough to hang themselves with, and this is very trimmed down. I know there's, be a 4-hour version that they're going to be like, hey, what landed on the cutting room floor, I don't know, but this is what he needed, I kind of feel about it the way that I feel about something like A Gone with the Wind, which I probably haven't seen since I was a kid, but it's it's long. It tells a whole big thing. Years go by and it takes time to show you how insidious it was for how long that these people were willing to kind of play the long game. I think the runtime is fine.
Dare I say, it's not long. It's epic.
It's an epic.
I'll tell you what I didn't miss. Dinner. I snuck in a taco, a burrito, an acai bowl, and a drink. Dylan, did you bring any food into the theater?
No, I'm a respectable.
What did you eat? You didn't eat anything?
I ate before, like a human being.
You're fucking lying.
Yeah, I swear. I have leftover curry in the fridge. I ate popcorn because you can do that in a movie theater. That's acceptable and
Socially
like
acceptable.
fine.
Wow. I learned from you, man.
Sure. I've never done that shit in my life.
Yeah. Right.
I will say I have never seen Dylan eat a burrito during a Martin Scorsese movie. So
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He has respect. Yeah.
time and place.
Me, I was starving.
Yeah, I respect cinema. Speaking of runtime, though, if you're like a long or a loud yawner, or like someone who can't shut up, don't go to this fucking movie.
Thank you.
I know if you're one of those people, you're probably not listening to this podcast. But like, shut up.
Also, if you chew ice, maybe don't go to the fucking Martin Scorsese movie.
I don't think that would have annoyed me in. Like, if we're watching Transformers or
Fine.
whatever, like,
But it's so quiet.
gobble, gobble, gobble. But if it's just like, I know who you are.
Who's doing that? Just
What
some
do
randos?
you
Dude,
mean?
right behind us.
What do you mean you know who I am?
What,
Chewing ice.
did you guys see this in San Marcos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shaking the
5
cup.
o'clock. Rattle, rattle, rattle.
There's a lot of people going in through bags for like food, like bags of chips.
I mean, I'll say
something.
this. Like, maybe it's like long road trip kind of irritation. Like, maybe I wouldn't be annoyed by a lot of the behavior during a shorter film or like, a shorter drive, but someone who has like an annoying tick and it's like a 6-hour drive starts to get to you. So yeah, I think it may be not so much like an issue of people behaving right, but more so just like it's hard. Be on your best behavior because you will be extra annoying since we're going to be here for quite a while.
Yeah. Also, anyone watching this also knows what they're getting into.
Yeah.
Bro, there's this 2 fucking ding dongs, bro. I swear. They're separate. In front of me, some lady like dropped her phone twice.
Yep.
And then
We
like
had so many drops.
the
in our-
second drop, her husband or boyfriend or whatever, like turned his flash on his phone.
Oh my
Yeah.
I was like in the middle of the movie and I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing just to find your phones? Just leave it there. You fucking
You don't need it.
Yeah, it's already like what the fuck you guys like, what are you looking at?
It's funny you mentioned that because like after the first drop happened in our showing, I'm like, okay, we've got 3 hours and 15 minutes ago. I'm just going to count the drops. 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got 3. But then the loud yawner wouldn't shut the fuck up. Like halfway through you just hear and I was like, yo, I almost yelled at him because like at one point, remember when the grandma died and then she has the vision of the family?
the ancestors coming.
Yeah. He like laughed and he was the only one laughing.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I swear to God. I was about to yell at him.
What do you think he was laughing at?
I think he's just like Blazing Saddles or whatever. Like, remember when
God.
like when Native people would dress up and that's like the joke?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what he's laughing at.
Thankfully, we didn't have anything like that at ours. It was just like dropsies and like, loud chewing.
Drop C's?
Dropsies. Like,
They said like,
my phone. Ba-boom.
like the C word was being dropped.
You fucking.
I was like, what the fuck are you talking
Yeah,
about?
there's a lot of British people were
I
there.
was like, why did you say that? I feel like
some Irish people, some Australians.
We had some F-bombs, some C words.
Yeah, I was like, yo, that's crazy. Anyway, but yeah, if you're one of those people, or if you don't think you can sit through a 3.5 hours, stay home.
I don't know. I feel like there's a cloud over you with this film as far as enjoyment goes. Do you think this sullied your experience with the film?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying out there. If you're a loud person,
You gotta pull a Robbie on this one and
Kill him?
watch it again.
Oh,
Not a bad call.
I thought Robbie killed him at the end of that.
That's it. That's the PS to the email.
Yeah.
By the way, I killed a guy during Across the Spider
You guys
Verse.
ever murder someone during the film?
hey, movie master, you guys killed anyone before?
And
In
not
the
that
theater?
I can admit
No.
in public.
In theater.
So I'll say the Killers of
Killers of the Flower Moon.
clunky title.
Yeah, I also think that's not really working
I mean,
for it.
works as a book, but
Yeah.
Killers of the Flower Moon. Are we going to do we let this one bloom, or do we pluck it? I'm going to let this one bloom. I loved it. It was great. You know what's weird though? I don't know that I had like a big emotional connection to it in the way that I would consider like some of my favorite movies of the year.
Right.
I'd say it's one of the best movies. I don't know that it's like one that had a deep emotional impact, which would, I think, the kind of experience that you would walk away saying that's one of my favorite movies.
I'm glad you didn't identify with Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De
I didn't say
Niro, my
identify.
friend.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can connect emotionally with a movie or be like stunned. I think it was probably that like it's supposed to be good.
Well,
And it was.
the reason I bring that up is a lot of the movies that you like, you identify to a degree with the people you're watching or the characters you're watching, rather. So like I'm glad that you don't have that on this one. You're not supposed to.
Yeah, I think it's probably just the lack of like when you watch I don't know, Landscape with Invisible Hand.
Yeah.
That is such a out of nowhere, what's going on?
Yeah.
What is this? A delight. It creates like, things sparking in your brain. You don't know what's going to happen next. You watch this, it's like, this should be good. And then it is. And you're like,
You know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
And so, it lacks maybe some like I said, emotional, like I was moved, but it is so goddamn good. And I loved it so much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, let it bloom, like at the end when they're doing the drumming and the dancing and stuff.
Oh, that was great.
Yeah, I like this movie. I hesitate to say I enjoyed it, but it's very visually pretty stunning.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the costuming. I especially liked the Osage women and their jewelry and their cool blanket thing.
Yeah.
And there's gore, but after watching just like Halloween gore, this is like, oh, this is storytelling gore. It's not like for, I don't know, just
Gore
to be,
fans.
To be, it's not to be funny, but you see it and it's like, oh, geez, which I thought was an interesting contrast to, watching trash.
Let it bloom. Go see it if you can. Try to see it in the movie theater because as we talked about before, sometimes when you have a long run time at home, that phone is going to be calling your name and you're not going to have the willpower to not check it. If you can watch it uninterrupted, you're going to be rewarded. I think, at the end of the year, we're going to look at all the movies and we're going to put that right up there with the best of them for sure.
I'll let it bloom. I think Scorsese just has like a great fucking vision. I just like the directing. I don't know if this is like up there with like Goodfellas for me, but it's still good. I still liked it a lot.
You got to compare it to 21st century, like The Departed.
I don't know. Oh, I was gonna say Wolf of Wall Street, bro.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have to
All
put
right,
it.
I'll
You have to
compare
rank
it
it
to-
against this
I'll
century's
compare it to
movies.
Wolf of Wall Street because that's my favorite one out of the 21st century stuff. I like Wolf of Wall Street a little bit more, but I just think it's funnier, like purposely funnier, not like But I still think he just has like a great eye, and that's all I can say about it.
Compared to other Scorsese stuff, this is not particularly rewatchable, right? Like, there's not like, oh, this was a cool scene I want to see again.
I think you could watch it twice, but then like unless you really liked it, like you're one of the few, I'm sure. I don't think you need to.
I mean, if you want to study it, for your own purposes,
Yeah,
then
for, like,
go back. But
the joy of just watching.
Yeah,
I think
rewatch.
Dylan's right. It's probably a twice in your life watch.
Maybe a filmmaker's like if
Yeah.
you're, like, one of
100%.
those.
I mean-
it's a textbook, for making movies if you want it to be.
Like, I don't think Scorsese makes like the tough mobsters in his movies like cool for the sake of being like, yeah, these guys are badass. Like, they're all tragic stories and warnings. But sadly, admittedly, there's just some like chest thumping part of being a boy that makes you see a guy say, "What the fuck are you fucking saying to me?" Ba 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 ba, and you're just like, yeah, I like that. So even if like there's just some part of you that can connect to that, and this movie, I think, to the credit of the subject matter that it's covering, it doesn't have that like machismo or just like that thrill you get seeing dudes be fucking alpha fucking shad mobster guys. So if you take that, I think that is, whether people would admit it or not, is kind of a big part of what makes the Scorsese movies rewatchables, like for the badass stuff. And it would be really awkward if they made Leo a badass dude in this. He's the slimiest of slime balls, and it's not in a cool way. When you take that factor out, I think you lose some of that, like, oh, fun, I get to see people curse and shoot each other.
Yeah.
But they swap it out for you get to see the walls start closing in, which is such I like that sensation better the older I get, for sure.
Yeah, it's a modern masterpiece. Speaking of masterpieces that are unparalleled in the world of cinema, Dylan, what else are we watching?
Well, Colin, I didn't actually see this movie. I was kind of busy this weekend. I guess you guys saw this other movie called The Other Zoey, right? From what I've seen from the trailers, I kind of get the gist of it. So, like, I guess this person, Zoe, is like a brilliant college student who's determined to challenge the conventional ideas of love, right? Am I getting that correctly?
So far, you're lockstep. Are you sure you haven't seen it?
I saw the trailer.
Did you write
Okay.
it?
This is
Sounds
why
like
I got
you
the
wrote
trailer.
it,
I
yeah.
wrote this synopsis. And,
Maybe it was a very good trailer.
I was saying, like, it sounds like you wrote the movie because you really understand the essence of it.
And I got more out of it. Her
Okay.
life soon gets turned upside down when a amnesiac mistakenly believes she's his girlfriend,
Real movie.
right?
Boom.
Who also
Yeah.
happens to share the name Zoe.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
That's all I know about that. That's what I got from that movie. I know it stars Drew Starkey and Josephine Langford.
What if I were to tell you
That's all
that
I
a
got.
movie exists that brings together cast members of movies like Morbius, Hellraiser,
Which one?
the reboot,
Didn't see it, but all right, go on.
and Gigi and Nate?
Gigi and Nate, the
Yeah.
monkey movie.
Yeah.
We rewatched. We saw that Hellraiser reboot together. You liar.
Right?
I couldn't tell you what happens.
Yeah.
I know the new one has a girl in it. I that's all I know. I've never seen it.
Huh.
The girl Pinhead.
Let me ask you this. Are you familiar with a series of movies that have always in the title? There's like 6 of them, and the girl from Gigi and Nate is in them. On the cover, she's like kissing a different guy in each one, and they have the same typeface.
I think it's a book. I think
If it's based on a book, that makes sense because there are so many of them. But yeah, your lead, Josephine Langford, she's in a ton of them. So there's like 5 or 6.
Also, Josephine Langford, if you're listening, can you tell us if your dad is Steve Langford of the Howard Stern Show, the news correspondent?
Steve Langford has a huge penis.
That's exactly how I know it. Damn, okay. She has a videography. That's
yeah,
fine.
serious videography.
Yeah. Okay.
Filmography.
I'd be stoked. I wish I was there. I was sadly, literally just too busy.
So yeah, this is like a very light, very self-aware, but also not like meta breaking. This is like straight down the middle. Have a good time. Watch a romantic comedy if you like this sort of thing. Movie. This is like Disney Channel movie tier dumb premise. The girl, this football guy gets hit, soccer guy gets hit by a car, forgets who he is, kind of knows the girl. The girl stumbles up to him and she's like, he's like, who are you? I don't know anything. She's like, I'm Zoe. Like, oh, my girlfriend's name is Zoe. You're my girlfriend. And she's like, all right. And fucking rolls with it. And then she finds out that the guy's cousin is the guy that she actually has a crush on. Thus, she uses her in the family to like date the guy's cousin.
But he's
No,
poly and
she's
she
like-
hates it.
Okay, so she doesn't want to hurt this guy anymore while he's recovering. So she's like, I'll just pretend to be his girlfriend for a little while. And then she's like, oh, wait, your cousin is this guy I have a crush on? I'll use you to get closer to this guy and get to like learn more about him. But she's stringing along this poor guy who doesn't know that she's not his real girlfriend.
And there is no reason she couldn't say to the parents, hey, I'm not
This
his
is what's
real
happening.
girlfriend. I'm just a lady. I don't want to mess with this guy's head though, so let's just roll with it till this
Yeah,
magical
like make everybody
3-day
else in
window.
on it. Yeah.
It would take 30 seconds to undo
Yeah.
all the wacky, zany situations that occur in the film. And they go through so many hoops to avoid that. Then it's just, you love to see it. Just truly indulgent. Like, yeah, we know it's stupid. We don't care. We like these kind of movies.
They reference the kind of movie that it
Tons
is.
of meta commentary throughout the entire thing. At one point, they're watching When Harry Met Sally in the actual movie and talking about it.
Yeah, and at no point are they, and it's just like, it's not a deconstruction or a twisting of like the tropes. It's like, no, we like this kind of movie. Here's the kind of movie we like,
Yeah.
and we're making the kind of movie. Fuck you.
They have-
Fuck you, you cynical pricks. We're making the kind of movie we like here.
Yeah, they have like a scene where one of the characters is saying, "Well, if this was a rom-com, I'd say this." And then they got poor Annie McDowell. She's got a line. I forget the first half of it, but the second half of it is, "And that was me and your father's meet cute." I'm like,
Yeah.
she's 60, 70.
You have to say the word meet cute if you know you're in a rom-com.
Yeah. And
Oh God.
yeah, it's just
Heather Graham bait and switch. By the way, she's top billed, doesn't appear until 80 minutes in, and is in there for 3 minutes.
he's not 80 minutes in.
Yeah.
I timed it.
No, it's
you
not.
timed it falsely.
mom.
She's
no.
talking to her on the phone like way
Talking
early.
to her on the phone. She's not in the
She-
movie.
she's
Yeah,
in the movie.
she is.
This is like quantifiable.
All right. To be fair, I was on my phone.
Yeah, of course you were.
But I didn't see her
weird.
until 80 minutes in.
No,
No.
she's in it.
Yeah, she's. I mean, like it's like the way that the what's the Patton Oswalt bit about like the girls in the heavy metal music videos where they're like the band is rocking out in the warehouse and the girl is in a separate location completely.
Yeah.
So Heather Graham is in it.
80 minutes in, she's in the same scene with the lead.
Yeah, she is in one location, which
Okay.
is her own house, and the daughter calls her, and it flashes to Heather Graham.
How did
being
I
on the
miss
phone
every
with her.
single call? I guess because I'm like,
But yeah, the joy for me. Well, there was two joys. I'll let Justine explain one of them, but the other one was watching like the high school girls, like a couple aisles in front of us, like gasping and like 100% locked in to like every like twist of the film, and like it's just sick. Like, yes, target demographic reached. Like when the kids in the Paw Patrol movie are like, yeah, get them. It's like, hell yeah. This is again in a world of post-ironic cynicism, and you know, everyone's just waiting to be like, new fucking Star Wars movie. Whoosh, fucking shut up. How about that? Like, no, I love it. I love to see just people enjoying themselves at the theater. And I got this. Justine, you want to tell them about the joy that I know you received in this film that was an absolute surprise?
I don't remember.
Who was the little girl in the movie?
Oh, shout out to Olive Abercrombie, who I was not expecting. So this is a random thing. Like, you know, on Instagram, stuff will come up, funny kids, whatever. So forever and ever ago, there was a little girl who came up, and she's very funny. You check up on her because her mom posts a bunch of content of her being hilarious. And so she's just become like stuff she says. It's just become stuff we say in the house because it's funny. And then all of a sudden you see her and she comes on screen. I was like, oh my God, she got a real role in a movie. Because she's had like non-speaking roles in some stuff, like the Hill House stuff. She did a little bit of that. She's had some stuff here and there. But I was like, wow, she has like speaking roles. She's so old now.
she had like comedic lines too the entire time.
So nice to see and so bizarre.
Very weird. It was like seeing, I don't know, like a YouTube commentary channel or something like that, like someone who like does something like that in like a movie, and you're like, well, I did not expect this, and it's impossible to take seriously because they're always just that person. I don't think, you know, in all fairness, she's necessarily a top tier actor.
Oh no,
you know,
she's a kid. She acts like a kid.
I've seen videos. Justine shows me videos of this kid being a silly kid, and you see her in this movie as a silly kid. But man, it was definitely a not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Didn't have that on my 2023 bingo card.
Oh my God, that's the type of humor that you can expect from the movie. But I pulled in. We were recording on a Saturday night, and I watched the movie right before because it's only an hour and a half. And when I pulled in the parking lot, I'm like, oh my God, this is a lot of cars. And I think only the Martin Scorsese movie is the only big thing that released this week. I don't think they're there though, because they would have been there, you know, when we saw it.
Still Tay-Swift running
Yeah.
over.
Oh yeah.
Which, just to get this out, I think that's why we're kind of scraping these kind of movies to talk about, because man, I still blame that movie for throwing movie schedules really screwy the past couple weeks.
sure.
But
Either way, like I'm looking at all these cars, I'm like, I wonder what that's for. And then I go into my auditorium, and it's for this movie. It's completely packed. Everybody has brought either a blanket or are wearing pajamas, and every fucking line hit. Like it was there. I just, I'm jealous because it's not made for me in any capacity, but like this style of humor and like just how mind numbing it is to me it's like it's another person's treasure for sure. And they were emotionally reacting, they were physically reacting. Yeah, there was a physiological response. There was an entire theater full of young people and some oddly older people. It was a visceral reaction to a movie that I would, if I wasn't sitting in the theater, I would have turned off after 5 minutes.
And it's so sick because it is, an independent film in the sense, like it is a small ass movie, and it's just getting people into it, man. It's like, it's just I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. I don't think they make rom-coms for depressed 40-year-old men, but I was delighted by the delightment around me, and just I like some absurdity, intentional or otherwise. Like the guy goes into the bookstore that the girl works at, and he's just like, "Do you have any books on Battletoads, bro?"
And the only books available are Battletoads for Dummies and An Idiot's Guide to Battletoads.
Psychotic. These are real lines set in a real movie, and it's they close it up later. It's like shown that the guy is getting the book for his.
They show the real new reboot of Battletoads, which you can play on Game Pass if you want to.
Why? Like that's nuts. It's not like Fortnite.
It might be like a
Among
relative
Us.
of the filmmakers, like it's just like poured their heart and soul into Battletoads. They just want to give them the big come up.
So sick. I don't know. I one of my perverse tropes that I love to see. I was like making snide comments in the back of my head, and then they outright acknowledge it in the movie. Is the white girls used to have gay best friends in these movies. Now it's black girls with big hair.
Yep.
Who have no story. They come from nowhere.
Yeah,
they go to nowhere.
They're just there to support the white lead.
And you're watching these, and I see this a lot in movies, and I'm like, you have no reason to be friends with this person. Why are you the person who's on the phone with them all the time? And then at some point in this movie, they're like, there's no reason me and you should be friends. I was like, yeah.
At least they know it.
They're acknowledging it. But that's the thing, it's so like on the nose about all the tropes and everything, but it's meant to be that way. And I don't know. I was like charmed, if maybe for kind of a sick, perverse, meta irony reasons, but I was still, entertained and charmed, and I've experienced much less joy from much quote unquote better movies. So I don't know what that tells you.
So I figured part of it out because like we use this word pretty often on the podcast, the word cozy, and like Colin uses it a lot when he refers to horror because he loves horror movies so much. I heard people in the audience saying this movie is so cozy, and they were saying that the lead's sweaters were cozy.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So I think I think the genre itself gives people comfort because it's just like this non-taxing view where you can just go in, you can watch like this, attractive white lady get the guy, and then they finally kiss at the end, like we're erupting in applause. And oh my God, look, she's just wearing cable knit sweaters. That is so cozy. And I'm so cozy right now because I have my pajamas and my blanket. And it's just like this whole vibe, that like I didn't go in necessarily expecting, but I understand that it is a clear phenomenon that brings people comfort in the colder months. So maybe releasing it in, mid-October is a smart move. I don't know.
I think, boys get movies where there's like, I am strong guy and I'm going to kill the bad guy at the end. Or
that sounds so good.
I'm going to kill everyone in this house except for one of you. And we're going to find out who it is. Like we get our movies like that all the time, and they let them have fun. It's great. And like, just be so unapologetic about it. I love to see it. That is another thing I loved is just when it is a college campus with all walks of life present as one would expect. And they are all just dressed like a J. Crew catalog, head to toe, no deviance, no variant. There's not like a token like TikTok alt in the background or like tattooed guy or anything. It is all just mannequins, and it is so fucking sick that they're just like, whatever, we're making it. I think, to your point, it's like, show everyone in comfortable clothes. It's gotta be something.
I had for a long time. Actually, no, I still have no idea. How old are these people? What grade are they in?
Like
I
34.
make it seem like they're in high school sometimes. And then I'm like, wait, no. There's no way they're in high school. And then, okay, they're talking about grad school. Okay, so they're in college. But these are like adult people. It was a little confusing. But there's like a whole genre of like Hallmark holiday
Yeah.
movies, and they show you exactly the situation you're supposed to be in watching this movie, which
Right.
is huddled up, pint of ice cream to yourself, watching a rom-com.
That's
And
addressed in the movie too. Yeah, because like they were talking about doing a triple header rom com watch in the beginning of the movie, and she's like, I don't know, and she goes, well, really, all that is just an excuse to just drink and snack endlessly, and she goes, oh yeah, okay, I'll do that.
yeah, that's like the whole thing you're supposed to do. Sit down with like ice cream on your couch and just, chill out and watch these movies. And that's what she ends up doing, and then you see her and she's really in one of these movies. That's the whole deal.
Oh
Is she thinks these movies are dumb and they're not realistic. And then guess what? You best start believing in
Believe in a
the
rom-com,
movies because you're in one.
One line that got me that didn't get the rest of the theater, and I was like, oh man, what is it not funny? But I thought it was funny. It's like she gets up at the party at the end and she's trying to give a speech, and it's really clear that she's just trying to make a big scene in front of the boy, and there's a guy in the background that screams out, why don't you work out your problems in private like the rest of us? And I was just dying, and the rest of the theater kind of like turned around and looked at me. I was like, that's not funny? I think that was
But
funny.
again, because they know, and she knew, she was like, some grand gesture is dumb, but then she knew that's what she had to do because now she's in a rom-com. And so it's still funny to
line was
have the
hilarious.
person say what
Everybody's thinking.
everybody knows.
Yeah.
And what everybody also thinks somebody should say if it was realistic. And there you get it.
I was hoping I could just bond with the rest of the theater and laugh, together, but they didn't laugh at that one.
Your heart's frozen over. You can't appreciate this.
I like jokes.
the other Zoe, do we love? Or are our hearts frozen over and we actually hate love because we're darkly cynical, brooding people? I like love. I wouldn't say I love it. I mean, it's, again, I had I was smiling almost the entire time, possibly because I'm a cynical asshole, but I was still smiling the whole time, so can't take that from it.
Yeah, I like love too. In theory, I love this. Like how Mission Impossible has stupid tech, which is just
Right.
like, sure.
Oh, you don't say.
This is kind of like the Mission Impossible tech. Can you make this website? Yeah, I think I can do that. Let me gather like 10 other kids who I'm sure have schoolwork to do, but we're going to make this whole app and stuff. That stuff is really funny to me. And, this is the quote unquote attractive girl being a quote unquote nerd. It has that trope
That's
too.
very modern.
Well,
yeah.
it's so funny because they don't even try to they don't do the put her hair up in a bun
No.
and give her glasses. Like, no, she's super good at coding and she looks like a hostess at TGI Fridays. What?
Yeah. That girl next door who looks like that. Well, guess what? Computers.
Yeah.
Because
The algorithm.
Yeah.
yeah, she has to I think one character just has to say pivot just to make it sound like it's techie or whatever. This one, if I get a movie where a guy gets kicked through a wall, then everybody else can have a movie where, somebody develops an app and it doesn't work, but then they make a website and it takes off and it's a meet cute and the girl gets kissed at the end. Yeah, just it's obviously for a giant audience, and that audience turned out. Congratulations, not Hollywood. This is an independent movie.
I mean, independent enough. Jesus.
All right.
It definitely doesn't feel like a
Fucking
big production.
Shout out to the Fugazi of rom-coms.
I liked it. I love. I really like Heather Graham's performance on the phone.
She was really good, actually.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
just kind of charming.
When is she not? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I like that. I like the girl. The boy's cool.
There's two boys.
The main one. Yeah. He was
The
cool.
main one.
But yeah.
You definitely saw this movie, dude.
Yeah. So give it 5 stars out of 5.
And this is an asterisk. This is an old movie, but they brought it back to the theaters. Tell us about it, Dylan.
Again, sadly, it's just too busy this weekend. But I will say I've seen it over a decade ago. And
You really haven't rewatched?
I haven't seen this since I was in
Really?
middle school. Yeah.
Colin and I haven't seen it since the 90s.
Well, a decade ago is still 20 years after it came out.
Sure.
Welcome to reality.
Well, I would say it's, if I have to really remember, I probably saw it in 07, 08, like 15 years later. Whatever. So I wrote down what I remembered about it. Let me see if I can, you tell me if I remember this right. All right, Colin? And everyone else in the room? So the film follows the misadventures of Jack Skellington, right? It's like Halloween Town's beloved Pumpkin King, who has become bored with the same annual routine of frightening people in the quote-unquote real world. And then when Jack accidentally stumbles on Christmas Town, all bright colors and warm spirits, he gets a new lease on life. He plots to bring Christmas under his control by kidnapping Santa Claus and taking over the role. Right? Is that correct?
That sounds about right.
And then, but Jack soon discovers even the best laid plans of mice and skeleton men can go seriously awry.
Question for you, Dylan.
Yes.
Do you know who directed it?
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I had this discussion before this whole thing.
Okay.
I thought it was Tim Burton.
I did too.
And it's Henry Selick, but
Yep.
you know damn well Tim Burton was like behind him, like no.
Do my bidding.
Yeah.
Do it. Make
And-
the pumpkin
Maybe
king
it's his
dance.
pseudonym.
Yeah, no. Selick does all those like Caroline and
Yeah.
he does all that shit. So like.
Yeah.
It makes sense after you figure that out because you only know it as a Tim Burton movie, unless you're
Yeah.
like a deep
Because his
head, but-
name is in the title, basically. It's
Yeah.
like
I
Tim Burton's
wrote
name.
it,
Yeah.
produced it based on blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
But you know damn well he's like, no, no,
You did it wrong.
Don't make him look like that. Go from the bottom.
I want more dancing. Do more dancing.
Do more
Man, I'm
twirling.
thinking it needs to be longer.
Oh no, it's me, Jack Skellington.
Yeah, do it like that. I like that.
Why does he talk like that?
Isn't that wait who Tim Burton or Jack Skellington?
Both.
Oh, that's how Jack Skellington. That's how I remember him talking, and that's just how Tim Burton talks. You ever heard him talk?
Do it. I'm
Oh,
going
I
to
think
make
he
a
kind
film.
of talks like this.
No, I swear he's like all mousy. He's like
That's like,
"And so,
that's
I-
a fucking act. You
I
guys
wrote
don't
this-
know the real
I wrote
Tim
this.
Burton.
I wrote this
Nobody
movie,
knows
and Planet of the Apes was a really good movie, and I wanted to remake that.
I want to make Dumbo evil.
And then goes turns around. Dumbo is bad.
Pee-wee,
Those
get on the table. Do a silly dance.
got to Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey before I could publish it.
Alice in Wonderland. Let's make her evil.
Johnny,
Hey, Johnny.
I don't want to come out of my cage.
Johnny.
get out of the cage. My giant-eyed wife is going to whip you. She's the Queen of Hearts. You're a fucking cat or something.
Oh,
Johnny.
he's the Mad Hatter, not the cat.
Oh, I don't want to get out of this cage.
Wear this hat.
All right, I'm always wearing accessories. For some reason, in your
More
movies-
rivets. More rivets.
Anyway, thank you for listening to our review of The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I had to give this movie up for like a while. It was a bad habit of mine as a youth. But at some point, it just became obvious that it belonged to like the kids with the lip piercings and the stripy shirts. And you know what? I sat back and I let him have it. I was like, I was here first. I was here louder than you. But you know what? You need this, apparently. You need the little Edward Gorey. You need those Edward Gorey kind of drawings on you. You need the hoodies and oh, bro, that's a sick fucking like that's like a sick luxury item. Is like the Nightmare Before Christmas hoodie, and it zips up and it's like Jack Skellington's face.
Yeah.
You're dealing with a fucking
Do you still have
aristocrat.
that Jack Skellington beanie? Like it was like a
Oh,
big
bro.
Jack Skellington print.
That's I only wear on special occasions when I need to hang outside of fast food stores and wait for drugs.
And weddings.
Yeah.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, it's the cultural baggage of this film, I think, is a lot to take, and like it's easy to be like, I don't know, you don't want to be seen as like a person that likes this movie or something because you don't want to be associated with all of that.
I think Travis Barker may have ruined it for me because like there was that period where like, you know, he started dating celebrities and each one he was like so in love with them. So like there's that awesome Blink 182 self-titled record. For some reason, Travis writes all like the liner notes about the lyrics and stuff. And there's a lyric that goes, "We could live like Jack and Sally if we want," which is a fucking absurd line because they don't get together until the end. So you don't know how Jack and Sally live together.
They live in Halloween Town, bro.
So he wants to live in Halloween Town. Okay,
Yeah,
God.
have you ever
Who
seen
doesn't?
Travis Barker?
No, but what I'm saying is like the way that the lyric was written was like they had this like wonderful relationship. We don't know their relationship because there was nothing after it.
It's romantic. That's the whole thing. Clearly, you didn't grow up a spooky kid on this
Let
movie.
me put it this way. He was talking about Shannon Moakland and they divorced right after that record.
No, it's such an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's amazing.
Like, it's so tactile seeing all the little crazy creatures move on screen. They look so cool. All this Like the background characters to me are the stars. Like
Yeah.
every little vampire and mummy and lizard man and just all the goofy bullshit they pack into every little nook and cranny of this movie. It's like a total monument to just like, I don't know what creative minds can do. And I was not a super big Oingo Boingo fan when I was like in my heyday of this movie. And now that I really have a frame of reference for the part of Danny Elfman stuff I like, which is just, 80s Oingo stuff, I just see this is almost plays as like an extended music video. Like,
Oh yeah, because like if you look at the story itself, not a lot there, but the combination of Elfman and Burton and all that imagination and creativity and execution is like it creates magic.
it's so cool.
Yeah.
It's I think it's judging by the demographics of our theater, I think it's back in the hands of the people who really need it. I don't know if there has been better representation for the witchy Latina chasing after the autistic white boy, and it is so sick. I miss these things as a youth, but now it's just like, I'll just get potions and cause a spell. Jack, I had a bad dream. What bad dream? I'm hyper fixating and I'm on Adderall right now. Let's go. It's so
Song
sick.
time.
It's just like there's like menace and mayhem. It's magic. It's a magical film, and it's just really fun. Again, I get the cultural baggage. It's not the coolest thing to rep. I'm not breaking out the beanie unless I'm outside of the Wiener Schnitzel on waiting for drugs. I'm not going to put on my Jack Skellington beanie. But goddamn, does this age like a fine wine?
Oh yeah, it's better now. How many times do you think it's been pitched to Tim Burton to make A Nightmare Before Valentine's Day, Thanksgiving, all the other trees with the doors that he could have chosen?
I don't think he has a say. I think if they were going to do it, they'd do it.
Why wouldn't they do that then and just print money?
It doesn't make sense.
I mean,
That's just the whole thing. Is just like he'd never seen anything before, and then he came upon Christmas. If he saw other stuff,
This
he'd be like,
motherfucker has not seen Thanksgiving either.
yeah, but he already knows there's something else. The whole deal was like he didn't know there was anything else. And
But
then-
money.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know what you're saying, like, why not? Yeah, like in a world where like they don't need a new Ghostbusters movie, or I'm surprised there's no new Back to the Future movies, but like the amount of stuff that they will just do again does, like Blade Runner, for God's sake, every time there's a new Alien or Terminator or anything, it's
I was bringing up the question because it's almost like, in a way, you could look at it as like, oh, they might be setting it up for that because they have all the holidays in this ring.
But it was made in a time when people made movies. So they alluded to that and used the Easter Bunny thing as a goof, but it wasn't made with the intention to set up the cinematic universe. Also, didn't hurt that this movie bombed. Like,
it did?
Yeah, it did not do well at first. And
holy shit.
And like, I was weirded out watching this without the Touchstone logo in the beginning.
Yeah.
And this was like a weird arc for me because I would get shit at Hollywood Video for playing this movie because you're like, play Disney cartoons. And I was like, I'll play this. And they're like, this isn't a Disney cartoon. Look, there's a Touchstone logo in the beginning. I'm like, yeah, but it's Disney. And they're like, it isn't. And then this time around, they retconned all that shit. They're like, it's a Disney. We like it. Disney. But no, this shit like didn't. It took the lip piercing kids didn't come in till like a couple years later. Like it didn't do great in the theaters. Found a second life on home video, and even then, like oddly, I kind of see my managers point at this now, and I watch it because like, oh, this is kind of horrific. It's like not very. It's not an easy pitch for all ages, like some kids are going to mess with it heavy, obviously, and will continue to probably till the end of time. But there's some pretty visceral imagery in there. So yeah, at the time, it kind of flopping. Then being able to print money on the merchandise, like that's where they really kind of made the killing. Yeah. And actually, weird story here, the toys were like really rare in the 90s because again, they kind of flopped. So they put them out and then no one really bought them. And then by the time people really loved the movie, the toys were gone. So these stupid bendable toys are like,
every generation that discovers the movie like needs to have like,
and because things worked so differently then, it wasn't just like, make a million more things for all the people. It was just like, what, that movie? No, we sold the videos and now we're done with it. Yeah. And then once they started making the shit again, they never stopped making all the shit for it.
We'll give them credit though. I remember that release had both like the Disney style clamshell and then the regular VHS box. You know what I mean? So it's like a lot of times people would look for the clamshell if they were like a Disney animation freak. So that might have helped, bring it closer to prominence.
Get
faster.
you a man who can do both. I keep saying. So I think that maybe didn't spark the sequel thing. And now I don't know. Maybe it's been too long. Like they have to know that it would get some kind of backlash or something.
Yeah, you ever watch Robot Chicken? They gave you some of that stuff that you're asking for.
I haven't watched it. That Jamie Kennedy thing or
Seth Green.
Seth Green, same thing.
Nah, Seth Green's way better than Jim.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess Corpse Bride was sort of the spiritual successor to this, which everyone kind of agrees is
Crap.
mid.
Yeah.
You think people think it's mid?
It doesn't have a guy singing like this, so I don't care about it.
Yeah, it's not fabulous.
Yeah.
This movie obviously is, and it has lines people know of it, little creepy characters that you like that aren't the main people. But I was thinking that if you were really looking for a reboot or something, it's probably in another 10 years, right?
You think?
Like if they're doing Ghostbusters, that Hellraiser stuff or something like that, and that stuff from the 80s is kind of getting made.
This was year 30, right?
Something like that. I would
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah.
So stuff from the 90s is now, coming around again. You got your Slipknots and whatnot.
Don't do it. Don't
Never
do
went
the
away,
movie.
right, Dylan?
I don't know.
Just
Nothing
let
is
it be.
sacred.
Not Slipknot.
Let it fucking chill. Just let it be. That's something that's so special about this movie. Again, besides the hot topicization of it, like it is a one and done, not franchise, not beaten to the ground, not stretched out and repurposed and reused for everything
Which is
media
weird
wise.
for Disney.
Very weird for Disney, and please just let it be like that forever because it would be really cool.
Yeah.
Make your toys, make your hoodies and the beanies.
I don't know how long that lasts,
Some point they just fucking do it.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm thinking of, like, Universal Studios, I guess. You had, like, Jurassic Park ride for forever.
Still there,
That's
yeah.
kind of something, but you also keep having Jurassic Park movies.
Right.
This, you have a whole, like, remodel of the New Orleans square or whatever at Disneyland and stuff. But how long is that really going to be relevant for people unless you kind of keep pushing out nightmare stuff?
I'll say this. I did go to the Oogie Boogie Bash in 2019, and it sells out right away, and it's huge. Like, people freak out for it.
I wonder if the vibe can be stronger than the knowledge of the film.
I think so.
Because you have, oh my God, that was really cool. I know this movie a lot, like you do, where you just like kind of in the background, everything that's going to happen. But seeing the whole Oogie Boogie lair and that whole thing,
So
so cool.
Yeah, when
Getting
they
to
put
see
on
it
the
all
like
big.
the fluorescent
The black
lights.
lights
Yeah,
stuff,
black
yeah.
lights. There you go.
That's what they play on at the
So
Bash.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sick. Anyways, okay, Nightmare Before Christmas. Is this a Scream or is it a? We like the movie. We don't need to say it.
Nightmare Before
officially.
Christmas. Is it a Nightmare Before Christmas or is it a Nightmare Before Christmas? I think it's a Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah, it's a delight. We all like this. It holds up amazingly. Yeah, if you can see it in the theater, I would recommend it because details galore, which you'll definitely pay more attention to if it's on a big old screen.
Yeah.
I think that's all we got, right? Dylan, what are we watching next week?
Unlimited.
Hey everybody, thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Regal Movie Masters Unlimited. Zoom, 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 zoom. That's right, Five Nights at Freddy's. Freddy Fazbear and friends are going to show up for one night. For 5 nights, realistically. So be there and try to survive. Also, Chica Supremacy. We also got A24's Dicks the Musical. I don't know what this one's about, but all I know is that it's going to be epic and I cannot wait to see it. Then we got Inspector Sun, the new animated movie for Halloween. I can't wait to see that one because I have no idea what it's about other than they're bugs. Then we got Freelance, featuring some of the best actors of our time. John Cena, Christian Slater, Alison Brie, and much more. I'm fucking excited. Alright everyone, see you at the movies. Bye.